before we begin today's journey into one of the greatest battles in Islamic history, we kindly request you to subscribe to the Guided Soul channel, where we bring you powerful stories, deep lessons, and unforgettable journeys from the past that strengthen faith and awaken the heart. So make sure you subscribe and stay connected as we unfold the timeless treasures of Islam. Now, let us travel back more than 14 centuries to the scorching deserts of Arabia, where the destiny of Islam was about to be written in the dust of the battlefield, in what came to be known as the Battle of Badr. This was not just a clash of swords and shields, but a clash between truth and falsehood, between light and darkness, between the weak yet faithful followers of Muhammad and the mighty Quraysh of Makkah, who sought to silence the message of Allah forever. The year was 624 CE, the second year after the Hijra, when the Muslims, still a small and fragile community in Medina, found themselves facing a threat that could end their existence. The Quraysh caravans, rich with wealth and guarded with warriors, were moving through the deserts, and the Muslims, deprived of their own homes and property in Makkah, saw an opportunity to intercept them, both as a strategic move and as justice for what was stolen from them. But Allah's plan was far greater. What was intended as a raid on a caravan turned into the first decisive battle in Islamic history, a confrontation that would shake Arabia to its core. The Prophet gathered only 313 men humble, poorly equipped, armed with a few swords, shields, and spears, riding only 2 horses and 70 camels, sharing rides in groups, yet their hearts were burning with faith, their eyes fixed on Allah's promise of victory. On the other side, Quraysh marched with nearly 1,000 men, fully armed with cavalry, provisions, and the arrogance of those who believed they could crush the Muslims in one blow. The battlefield was Badr, a valley surrounded by mountains and dunes, where wells of water lay scattered, and where strategy would matter as much as bravery. The Prophet, as the commander, showed wisdom beyond any general of his time. He chose the position near the wells, ensuring the Muslims had access to water while cutting it off from the Quraysh. Before the battle, he prayed all night, lifting his hands towards the heavens, tears streaming down his blessed face, crying, "O Allah, if this small band of believers perishes today, there will be none left on earth to worship you." His dua shook the heavens, and Allah sent down peace upon him, assuring him of victory. The morning came, and the desert wind carried the dust of destiny. The Quraysh, proud and confident, advanced with their war drums, while the Muslims stood firm, their hearts echoing with the words, "Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil, Allah is sufficient for us, and He is the best disposer of affairs." The first to step forward were champions of Quraysh, demanding duels according to Arab custom. From the Muslims, the brave uncle of the Prophet, Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib, the Lion of Allah, advanced, along with Ali ibn Abi Talib, the young warrior of Islam, and Ubaydah ibn al-Harith. In fierce combat, the Muslims struck down the Quraysh champions, igniting courage in the hearts of the believers. Then came the full clash, dust rising, swords flashing, cries of Allahu Akbar echoing through the valley. But the Muslims did not fight alone, for Allah sent down His unseen army. The Quran testifies, "When you sought help of your Lord, He answered you, I will reinforce you with 1,000 angels, one following another." The companions felt the presence of these heavenly soldiers, striking fear into the Quraysh. The tide turned quickly, and despite being outnumbered 3-1, the Muslims cut through the Quraysh ranks. Abu Jahl, the arrogant enemy of Islam, who swore to crush Muhammad, was struck down, ending his reign of oppression. By the end of the day, 70 Quraysh were killed, and 70 more captured, while only 14 Muslims attained martyrdom. This was not just a military victory, it was the birth of hope, the proof that faith outweighs numbers, and that Allah grants victory to those who trust Him completely. The spoils of war were distributed with fairness, and the prisoners were treated with mercy. Some even released in exchange for teaching literacy to the Muslims. This was a new dawn for Islam, where the oppressed became strong, and the enemies of truth began to tremble. The Battle of Badr was not merely a story of swords and shields. It was a divine sign, a miracle written in the sands of history, that truth will always overcome falsehood, no matter how small the army, no matter how great the odds. For every believer today, Badr stands as a reminder. When you stand with Allah, you are never alone, and when your heart is pure with faith, the angels themselves march with you. Let us carry this lesson in our lives, that victory comes not by numbers or wealth, but by sincerity, patience, and trust in Allah. And if this story touched your heart, do not forget to subscribe to The Guided Soul, share this message, and keep alive the spirit of Badr in your faith. For the legacy of those 313 lives on in every believer who dares to stand for truth.